Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. We are left with the previous sutta, the Bahya Sutta, since we couldn't finish it. Last time we discussed about the advice given by Buddha to Venerable Bahya. It was about his finally the Vipassana, Magga and Pāla all explained in that short advice. So the commentaries, the tradition got, and unfortunately after killed by an accident, and then the monks to make a pagoda, stupa, enshrining his relics. So that is the remaining story that I have to discuss. Up to now, we discussed that
Hello, Bhante.
Hello. Can you hear
yes.
me?
Yeah, now yes.
My
Okay.
line was interrupted, right? Sorry, there are some problems in the internet today, so it goes up and down. Sorry for that. So up to now, when Venerable Bahya was informed about the Buddha's existence, and then he approached Savatthi, and at that time Buddha has already gone to Pindapata. Then Bahya followed him, saw him in the road, on the road, and asked him to preach short Dhamma in brief. Dhamma. Then Buddha preached Dhamma in very brief form about the Vipassana, very special, very famous advice, Ditte Ditte Mattam Bhavisati, and so forth, and also what will be the results of such practice. So that was the basic teaching given, and we discussed about it in detail up to now. So today we have to start from Atako Bahyasa Daru Chiriyasa Bhagavato Imaya Sankitaya, so forth. So we'll try to finish the sutta today, at least the prose. If we have time, we can go to the verse. Otherwise, we can start the verse next day. So anyone who's volunteered to translate? For a long time, right? Can you translate?
Yes, Bhante,
Brother
may I
Robbie?
try?
Okay. Oh, Sister Chandrapali, sure. Please,
okay.
Sister Chandrapali, please.
Yes, Bhante. Atako Bahiyasa Daru Chiriyasa Bhagavato Imaya Sankitaya Dhamma Desanaya Tawadewa Anupadaya Asavehi Chitam Vimuchi. Then at that moment, by this short Dhamma discourse of the Buddha, the mind of Bahya, the back-grouped, without grasping, was freed from the cankers. Atako Bhagawa Bahiyam Daruchiriyam Imina Sankitena Ovadena Ovaditwa Pakami. Then the Blessed One, having exhorted Bahya, the back-grouped, with this short exhortation, left. Atako Achira pakantasa bhagavato bahiyam daruchiriyam gavi taruna vacha adipatitva jivita voropesi. Then, not long after the departure of the Blessed One, a cow with a young calf, having crushed Bahiya, the back-roped, deprived him from life. Attako Bhagawa.
You don't need to, sister, you don't need to translate Daruchirya. You can just say Bahya
okay.
Daruchirya. Just take it as a name.
Okay, yes, Bhante. Attako Bhagawa Sawatiyam Pindaya Charitwa Pachabatam Pinda Pata Patikanto Sambahulehi Bikuhi Sadim Nagarama Nikamitwa Adasa Bahiyam Daruchiriyam Kalan Katam. This one, Biku Amante Si. Then, after meal, the Blessed One, having gone out from the town, going back from alms, together with many monks, saw Bahiya Daruchiriya, who had died. Having seen that, he addressed the monks. Ganhata Bhikkhave Bahiyasa Daruchiriyasa Sarirakam Manchakam Aropetwa Niharitwa Japeta Tupanchasa Karota Sabramachari Wo Bhikkhave Kalankatoti. Monks take the body of Bahiya Daruchiriya, having put it on a small bed and taken it away, burned it and make a stupa for him. Your companion in the holy life, monks, your companion in the holy life has died. Evam Bhante ti ko te bhikkhu bhagavato patisutva bahiyasa daruchiriyasa sarirakam manchakam aropetva niharitva japetva tupanchasa katva yena bhagava tenupasankam minsu. Having replied, as you said, Bhante, to the Blessed One, the monks, having put the body of Bahiya Daruchiriya on a small bed, taken it away, burnt it, and made a stupa, approached the Blessed One. Upasankamitva Bhagavantam Abhivadetva Ekamantam Nisidim Su. Having paid respect to the Blessed One, they sat to one side. Ekamantam nisina ko te bhikkhu bhagavatam etada vacha. The monks who sat on one side, Bhagavantam etada vachum. The monks who sat on one side said this to the Blessed One. Dadam Bhante Bahiyasa Daruchiriyasa Sariram Tupo Kasa Kato Tasaka Gati Ko Abhisamparayo Ti. Bhante, the body of Bahiya Daruchiriya has been burned and a stupa has been made. Which is his destination? What is his next rebirth? Pandito Bhikkhave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo Pachapadi Dhammasanu Dhammam Nachamam Dhamma Adhikaranam Vihese Si. Monks, Bahiya Daruchiriya, who was a wise man, practiced according to the Dhamma and did not bring me any difficulties concerning the Dhamma. Parinibutto Bhikkhave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo Ti. monks, Bahiya, Daruchiriya, is one who died without being reborn. Atako Bhagawa Etamantam Viditwa Tayam Velayam Imam Udānam Udāne Si. Then the Blessed One, having known the meaning at that time, uttered this utterance.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Mr. Chandrapani. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, nicely translated. I marked some few points while translation was going. I'll explain them during the explanation. So if we go the first sentence, Atako Bahiyasa Jaru Kiriyasa Bhagavato Imaya Sankittaya Dhammadesanaya Tavadeva Anupadaya Asavehi Chittam Vimucci. So, sorry. So here, Atako Bahyasa Daruchiriyasa Bhagavato Imaya Sankittaya Dhammadesanaya Tavadeva Anupadaya Sasavehi Chittam Vimucci. So in this sentence, the verb is Vimucci. Vimucci is, we call, it got liberated or released, got freed from something. Vimucchati. So Vimucchati is now if someone gets released from or liberated from some defilements or some suffering, we can call Vimucchati. This is a past tense, Vimucci. So what is the subject of this verb? It is the Chitta. Chitta is the subject. Chittang Vimucci. Chitta got liberated, got freed. From what? Asavehi. If something is freed from something, the thing from which we get freed is written in ablative case. I'll repeat again. If something is freed from something, get released or freed from something, from which we get free, the thing gets free. Is called, is written in ablative case. Written in ablative case. Then Anupadaya is a gerund. Anupadaya means not having grasp. So Vimucci is a verb. Chitta is the subject. We'll mark it with a different color. Vimucci is a verb. So then, this is the main clause. Asavehi Chittang. The main clause means the last verb. So this is the subject of the sentence. Asavehi Chittam Vimucci. This is the main part. So these are gerunds. So then, Anupadaya. Then Tavadeva at that moment, without any delay, immediately after the discourse was said. No, immediately he at the end of the discourse. Then Atako Bahyasa Daruchiriyasa Bhagavato Imaya Sankittaya Dhammadesanaya Tavadeva Anupadaya Asavehi. So then we have the reason. Now his mind got liberated from defilements. So without having grasping the five aggregates as mind or my, what with the like with Upadana at that moment. So due to what? Due to Imaya Sankittaya Dhamma Desanaya. So this is the reason of this liberation. Because of due to this, listening to this Dhamma Desana, so due to this Dhamma talk, Imaya Sankittaya Dhamma Desanaya. So due to this, so these are Imaya and Sankittaya adjectives of Dhamma Desanaya. This is Dhamma Desana is a feminine gender noun. So here it's ablative. This is not aya suffix. This is not the dative suffix. Dhamma Desana is feminine gender noun. So naya can be instrumental, dative, genitive, ablative, genitive, and vocative. So here we should take it as the ablative meaning, or you can take it as the, if you want, instrumental meaning as well. So then Bhagavata Dhamma talk. Who's Dhamma talk? It's connection. We don't call it the position. The genitive case have two meanings, the possession and the relation. That's better to say relation, sambandha. Sami means normally if you possess something, the one who possesses is called Sami. Then if you have a relationship with someone, that is called sambandha. For instance, if you possess something like, for an instance, if you take the money, gahapati sadana, the money of the householder. Householder is the Sami or the owner, is the lord of this money. He owns it. And if you take Matuya Putto, the son of the mother, or Visakaya Putto, the son of Visakha, here in grammatically we don't call it Sami, we call it Sambandha. Because the mother doesn't own the son. There is a relationship between the son and the mother. So likewise, genetic talk given by the Buddha. So it's better to say Sambandha. It's connection. So Buddha, we can translate Buddha's Dhamma talk. Due to the Buddha's Dhamma talk, at that moment, immediately, without having grasping the five aggregates of thinking, the mind was released from asava. Then whose mind is this? So here, Bahiyasa Daruchiriyasa Chitta, the mind of Venerable Bahya Daruchiriya. So these are also a very common usage in suttas. Atta is then common usage in suttas when someone listen to Dhamma talk and get liberated. So this is the way of saying. So atako bahyasa daruchiriyasa chittang asavehi chittam vimucci. So then the Venerable Bahya Daruchiriya's mind got liberated from asavas. That is the cause, right? So in between, they have added reason for that liberation. Bhagavato imaya sankittaya dhamma desanaya, due to the brief teaching of the Buddha. Then the time, tavadeva, immediately. Then the manner it happened, how it happened. This is the jaran, anupadaya, without grasping. So actually, this is normally the bahya daruchirya is connected to the chitta, right? Because of as vimucci asavehi has applied. Chittang asa, we can say bahya daruchirya chittang asavehi vimucci. That is also possible, right? If you change the word order, it makes sense. So whenever bahya daruchirya's mind got liberated from asavas, and why it happened, how, why, what was the reason? Dhamma talk given by the Buddha. When did it happen? Immediately after the Dhamma talk. And how it happened? That is without grasping the five aggregates. This is a very common sentence pattern you can see. So here Chittang is connected to Bahyasa Daru Chiryas. Do you have any questions on this sentence?
Yes, Bhante. Hi, Bhante. Yes, I guess it is very similar to the question at the beginning of this sutta. So here you said that it is a very common pattern. So the Bahiyasta is connected to the Chitta. And so it's not that the Dhamma Desanaya for Bahiyasta. It's not, when we think it like that? You mean
the teaching
of the Dhamma? Yeah. The dated case of the Dhamma Desana.
Yes, like he was the teaching given to Venerable Bahya.
Yeah, yes.
You mean, right? It is possible. We can think in that way also. But as I used it as the last time we discussed about the like there was another similar kind of a sentence without the ordinary word order, right? So this is also because whose mind was released. That's how they take the meaning. So then it connects it with the Bahya Daruchirya. I understand your point. So if you take it like then the mind got released from the cankers due to the Dhamma talk given by Buddha to Venerable Bāhiya Daruciriya. Right, that's how we have to translate it.
Yes, but you said that it's a very common
So
pattern as well, Bhante.
yeah, that's why it's a common usage. So normally we connect this Bāhiya Daruciriya to the Chitta. So for example, in the suttas, when there is some attainment at the end, this is the usage they use. This is the way. So they connect the Chitta to this genitive case. It's a very common kind of a usage. So if you type the word vimucci, you will find these kind of sentences in many cases.
I see. Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Okay, shall we proceed there? Okay. So then atako bhagava bahiyang daruciriyang mina sankittena ovadena ovaditva pakkam. So this is a simple sentence. So there is a verb, final verb, pakkami. Ovaditva is a gerund. Atako bhagava bahiyang daruciriyang mina sankittena ovadena ovaditva. Pakkam. The Bhagava is the subject. Bhagava left. Bhagava left. Bhagava pakkami. Then ovaditva, having advice. Ovadena ovaditva, having advice with advice. So it seems very strange. Ovadena ovaditva. This is a way of Pāļi. Sometimes, when you say just ovaditva, it covers the meaning that you have given advice. So here it says, imina sankittena ovadena ovaditva. The Buddha having advised him with this short advice. That's how we translate word by word. Even without saying ovadena, just we can say sankittang ovaditva, just using as an adverb. Sankittang ovaditva, because sankitta is an adjective. You can change it into adverb by putting into instrumental or accusative. Sankittena ovaditva or sankittang ovaditva, instrumental or accusative case. So it's possible to say like that. But here, the long pattern was used. Imina sankittena ovadena ovaditva. Imina is instrumental case. Sankittena is instrumental case. Ovadena is instrumental case. So these are adjectives of ovada. So having advice with this short advice. Whom? Bāhiya Daruciriya. So the object of this ovaditva is Bāhiya Daruciriya. So then the instrument with what he advised is ovadena. Right? So then Buddha having advised Venerable Bāhiya Daruciriya with this short advice went away, departed. Atako achira pakkantassa bhagavatu. Atako achira pakkantassa bhagavatu. Achira pakkantassa bhagavatu is achira pakkantassa bhagavatu means it's a called absolute. It's a genitive absolute. It's like achira pakkante bhagavati. Bhagavati achira pakkante. So here we can also take it, sometimes it can be found as an adjective because it comes before the noun. But since, like I think we explained about this matter, if the meaning is, that's how in Myanmar tradition they consider, if the absolute meaning is obvious, they consider this as an absolute. If the adjectival meaning is obvious, we take it as the adjective. If both are possible, they translate in both ways, as an adjective and also as an absolute. But here we are talking about an incident which happened after the Buddha has left, because the main clause is very clear. Bāhiyan Daruciriyan Gavi Tarunavaccha Adipatitva Jivita Voropesi is the main clause. So this part explains about something which happened after the Buddha has departed. This we take it as a genitive absolute. Achira pakka, even though it comes before the noun. Achira pakkantassa bhagavatu, when the Blessed One has departed. Pakkantassa is not the present participle, this is a past participle. This is past participle. If you want to take it the present participle, it should be pakkamantasa. I'll just write and delete the sentence thing. The present participle of this pakkamanta should be Chira. Okay, just read after Chira plus com. So if you want to make it a present participle on, so it should be Achira pakkamantas. You want to say it. So this is the present participle, pakkamantas. So here Achira pakkantas. So it's a past participle. It's not a present participle. We have to be a little bit cautious about this. Sometimes we can easily misunderstand this as a present participle. So if it's a present participle, the ma should be there, pakkamantas. That is the normal usage. So when the blessed one has not long, achira means chira is long after. Achira means not long after. Not long after the blessed one has passed, gone away. Bahyan daru chiriyan gavi tharunavacha adipatitva jivita voropesi. So this is the absolute clause. This is the main clause. Bahyan daru chiriyan gavi tharunavacha adipatitva jivita voropesi. You can see this is the verb. Voropesi is the verb. Then adipatitva is gerund. Then subject of this sentence is gavi tarunavacha. Actually, the subject is gavi. Tarunavacha is an adjective. An adjective. So the sister Charanapari translated it as a cow with a small calf, right? So this is how the commentary gives. Gavi tarunavachati. Gavi vachati is ekayakini tarunavacha denu rupa. Tarunavacha denu rupa. So one, it was a demon, not a real cow. Gavi is a cow. Gavi feminine gender. Tarunavacha. So here Taruna means young. Vacha means calf. You know, it's a calf, grown up female cow. Tarunavacha Denu Rupa. Rupa is having that form. So Denu Rupa means having that form of a cow. Tarunavacha shows that it was a young calf. Vacha normally comes to the word calf. So it's possible that we can take this gerund samasa as a cow with a female demon in the form of a cow with a young calf. So it says that the cow has a young calf with one calf with it. And also you can take this only Taruna Vacha means that the thing is the word Vacha normally comes to the small calves. So because of that, so normally when we say Gavi can be a female cow. But when we, it refers to a grown-up cow. But when you say it's a Vacha is normally a calf. So therefore, it shows that the Gavi and Vacha cannot be used to the same person. So that's why it is possible that we take it as a cow with a young calf, with a young calf. So that's why it's, this word samasa, it shows that this was not only the cow, she was not in the alone form, she was together with a small calf with her, but they were created by her powers. It was not her natural form. So Gavi Tarunavacha, a cow with a small calf, Adipatitva, having trampled on or having crushed. Adipatitva means the commentary starts with Adibhavitva Madhitva, having gone above or having crushed, trampled upon, having tread upon. Jivita Voropesi. So object of this Voropesi, right? The Jivita is from life, from life. So the object of this Voropesi and Adipatitva is Bahyan Daruchirya. So both objects of this of the verb is of the this verb and the gerund, both is Bahya Daruchirya. So the Gavi Tarunavacha, the cow with a young calf, having stepped upon Bahya Daruchirya, deprived him of the life. Voropes is deprived, it's depriving someone of something. So the thing that is deprived, from which what we deprive anything, is written in ablative case. So this says the Bahya Daruchirya was deprived of the life. In the third parachika for monks Vinaya, we normally say Manussa Viggahan Jivita Vorope. Another usage. Manussa Viggahan Jivita Vorope. This is our third parachika in the Patimukha. This is optative case, deprived. So would deprive, if a monk deprives. Manussa Viggahan, here Viggahan means Sarira, a human body. So human body. So one deprives a human body, deprives of the life. So here Bahya Daruchirya is taken as a person. So it means this is a way of saying. So when someone wants to say killing, instead of saying Davi Tarunavacha Bahyan Daruchiryang Adipatitva Maresi, that is a very simple way of saying Maresi. The normal usage is he deprived him of his life. So Jivita Voropesi. Jivita is ablative case. Deprived the life. He deprived himself or his body of life. Yeah. So any questions on this? Okay, I hope it's clear. Then we go to the next paragraph. I hope everyone can hear me clearly.
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, Bhante.
Okay, right. Then Atako Bhagava Savatyang Pindaya Charitva Pachabatang Pindapata Patikanto Sambahulehi Dikko Hisadding Nagaram Nikamitva Addasa Bahyan Daruchiriyang Kalang Katam. It's a very long sentence. Then here the verb is Addasa. Addasa is the verb. Then Nikamitva is a gerund. Patikanto is a past participle. Yeah, so now these are the three words, verbal words. So what is the object of Addasa? Addasa Bahyan Daruchiriyang Kalang Kata. The subject of this sentence is Bhagava, very clear. Then Bahyan Daruchiriyang Kalang Katang is the object of Addasa. The object of Addasa. He saw the Bahya Daruchirya who has died. Kalang Katang is also a past participle. Also a past participle. It is connected to Bahya Daruchirya. This is the Vikatikama. This is the Pakatikama. Bahya Daruchirya is Pakatikama. Kalang Katang is Vikatikama because he has changed into a dead body already. Then Nikamitva. There is no object of Nikamitva. Nikamita doesn't need the object, it needs an ability. Yes. Nagaramha, departed from the city. So Nikamita has ability, and then it also has some other subject with many marks. The Bhagava, the blessed one, departed from the city with many marks. Sambhavlehi bhikkhu is something. With something, and Saha, we use the ability. Then Pindapata Patikkantu. Pindapata Patikkanta means, here also we have a gerund, sorry. Charikpa is a gerund. Patikkanta means having the past part, Patikkamanta, Patikkanta. Right? So this also comes from the root count. It's a past part, not a present participle, it's a past participle. But Pindapata Patikkanto, this is a nominative case ending. Patikkanto, Pindapata Patikkanto, Putva. Oh, sorry, we don't need to put it because it's a sorry for that, because it's a past participle. We already have the meaning, having returned from the Pindapata. It's equal to a gerund because it's a past participle in the nominative case. This is a absolute, nominative absolute. It's a nominative absolute. Sorry, Bhagava having returned from Pindapata. So the time of his returning, when did he return? Pacchabhattan, after the meal. Pacchabhattan is after the meal. This acts as an adverb. These are Bahubihi Samasas. This is an adverb. In English, it's an adverb. Then Pacchabhattan, after the meal. Pacchabhattan. So there are some Samasas which always mostly act as adverbs. Then Charitva, what is the Charitva is having wandered. The object is not mentioned here. Normally Charitva doesn't need an object, it needs a place to wander and a purpose to wander, instrument to wander with. So here Pinda is the purpose for Pindapata. Savathyang is the location where he wandered for Pindapata. So then the Blessed One, having wandered for alms in Savatthi, having returned from Pindapata after the lunch, after the meal, departed from the city together with many monks, and saw Venerable Bahil Daruchurya, who has died. Viswana Bhikkhu Amantesi, having seen, he called addressed the bhikkhus. Ganhata Bhikkave Bahiyasa Daruchiryasa Sariraka. Right. Ganhata Bhikkave Bahiyasa Daruchiryasa Sariraka. So here he is asking monks. Bhikkave is the vocative case. Ganhata, the order giving. Take, giving orders. Bahiyasa Daruchiryasa Sariraka, the body of Venerable Bahuya Daruchirya. The ka here has no meaning. It's the sarira, the same meaning. Sarira and sariraka are the same. Manchakang aropetva, having put it on a small bed. Manchaka, a small bed. You ascend something onto a something. Aropeti. You put something upon something. It's called aropeti. Manchakang aropetva. Niharitva, having take it out. Jhapeta, burn it. Jhapeta. So here, Ganheta Bhikkave Bahiyasa Daruchirya Sarirakan, monks take the body of Venerable Bahil Daruchirya. Then Bahiyasa Daruchirya Sarirakan, Manchakang Aropetva, the same object, having put it on a small bed. Then Bahiyasa Daruchirya Sarirakan, Niharitva, having taken it away. Bahiyasa Daruchirya Sarirakan, Jhapeta. All these gerunds have the same object. Ganhata, verb, aropitva. Then tupanchassa karota. Tupancha assa karota. This nigahita has changed into na because of cha. Then I is dropped. We normally say, normally what happens is here, if you take philologically, it becomes chasa because of the double consonant. Following the long one, it becomes chasa. This is what has happened. Normally it should be Tupan chasa become Tupan chasa. Logically, that is how it happens. Just some grammar, word formations. Then Tupan chasa karota. Here, we can have two meanings on this, like as the Sister Charana Pāļi translated, Tupan chasa karota, make a stupa for him. Stupa is the pagoda, make a pagoda for him. The commentary on this regard gives the translation, Tupan chasa karotati. So saying the Tupan chasa karota, they divide the sentence, the explanation. Tupan chasa karotati hassa bahyassa sarira dhatu. Dhatuyo gancha karota. So this is a commentary of this term. Panchasa karota. Assa bahyasa daru chiriyasa sarura dhatuyo gahitva. Chetiyancha karoti. Make a stupa. Chetiyancha also make a stupa. Cha is also gahitva, having taken what? Sarira dhatuyo. Relics. Sarira dhatuyo. Remains of the body after burning. Assa bahyasa. So this shows that this assa is according to the tradition. It's not the dative case. It should be the genetic case. Because it says the body parts, the remainings of Venerable Mahideva, having taken the remainings of Venerable Mahideva, Chiriya make a pagoda. So better to translate this as the genitive case rather than the dative case. There is a meaning for it. To make a stupa for him. He's already dead, but on behalf of him, to respect him, we can make a stupa. Because there are 4 types of beings who are called Tuparaha, who deserves to get a stupa. These are the Buddha, the Samma Sambuddha, Pacceka Buddhas, Araham, and also the universal monarchs. They all deserve to have a stupa after their death. So, it's also okay if you translate it as dative case, but according to the tradition, the commentary, it's clear that this is a genetic case as the tradition understands. Then Sabrakmachari wo bhikkhave kalankato. Wo is genitive case. I think I discussed about this. Wo have 5 cases. Nominative, accusative, very rarely. Then instrumental, dative, and genitive. So it's a genitive case. Sabrakmachari is one of the practices together. Practice the higher practice, similar practice. So Sabrakmachari. Sabrakmachari means the spiritual partner, practice together. Bhikkhave kalankato. The Sabrakmachari has passed away. So even though he didn't obtain the person, Buddha considered him as one of the disciples. Also, one of the equal status to him as a monk. That's why he mentioned he's one of your companions, as you did. So, questions on this paragraph?
So, Bhante?
Yes, Sally. Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
So in the Ganatha, can we translate as like an imperative mood?
Imperative. Yeah, should be imperative. Yeah.
Yeah, I think imperative is better than present tense.
Yeah, it's imperative. Take means like order. Imperative is better. These are all imperatives.
Yeah, so that means please take something like this, something like that is better.
Yeah, please take, please birth. All are imperative. But normally, sometimes we say like take the body. You just take things, right? So it should be grammatically this is imperative. Yeah, you're correct. So then, shall we move to the next paragraph, the last one?
Sorry, Bhante. I think.
Evam Bhante. Yes.
Sorry, Bhante. I think there is some background noise in your voice, Bhante.
Is it now okay?
Okay, right now it's okay, Bhante.
Evam Bhanteti kote
Thank
bhikkhu bhagavato patissutva bahyasya daruchiriyasya sarirакam manchakam aropetva niharitva jahapetva tupanchasya kapva yena bhagavatena prasannam. It's quite long sentence. Evam Bhanteti kote bhikkhu. Evam Bhante is like, as you said, Bhante, like, yes, Bhante, or if they accepted it, we will do it as it is, right? So that's what the Evam Bhante. So then, Kote Bhikkhu, this is how they reply. Te Bhikkhu, those monks. Bhagavato Patissutva. Patissutva means replies. It's like a simple translation is replying if something is, if the Buddha asks something or calls something, when we reply to Patissutva. Bhagavato Patissutva. This is dative case. When you give a reply to someone, we normally use the dative case. So here, this is the gerund, Patissutva. Then also we have aropetva, niharitva, chapetva, tatva, upasankaminsu. These are all verbal meanings. So upasankaminsu is the final verb. These are gerunds. So te bhikkhu is the subject. Those monks, having replied to the Buddha, bahyasa daruchirya sarirakam manchakam aropet. Having put the Venerable Bahya's body on a small bed, niharitva, having taken it out, having burnt it, tupanchasa kapva, having made a stupa from his body parts, or we can trace, having made his stupa, yena bhagavatena upasankamam, so approach the Buddha. We know this usage, yena bhagavatena upasankamam. Upasankamitva, having approached. Sorry. Having approached, bhagavantang abhivaditva, ekamantang nisidin. So it's easy, right? Having approached, they paid respect to the Buddha and sat beside. Ekamantan nisinna kote bhikkhu bhagavantan etadavuchum. I think everyone can understand. Having the ones who sat on one side said this to the Buddha. Daddam bhikkave bahyasa daruchirya sarira. So they are telling to the Buddha, the bahya daruchiryas body has burned. Daddam bhikkave bahyasa daruchiryasya sarira. Tupo chassa kato. His stupa has been done. Tassa ka gati ko abhisamparaya. So if we go to we'll just finish the paragraph first. Daddam bhikkave bahyas daruchirya sarira. So this is a past participle, daddam. It is acting as the verb here. Kato Bhante, Venerable Sir. The Venerable Bahya Daruchirya's body has been burned. Daddam. Why this is ending in Nigahita? Because Sarirang is a neuter gender. This is neuter gender nominative. It's not accusative here. Daddam is also neuter gender nominative. Tupo chasa kato is masculine gender nominative. Since Sarira is neuter gender, that's why we have to put it in Sarirang. We cannot say Sariro. Sarirang, Daddam. Stupa is masculine. So Tupa says the Venerable Bahya's body has been burned. His stupa has been built. Tassa ka gati. Ka means feminine gender, because gati is a feminine gender now. Destination. There are 5 types of destination. That is, I'll go to lecture notes after explaining. Gati is Niraya, Tirachana, Peta, Manusa, and Deva. 5 types of gati. And also, gati here, gati means the place where we normally go, are born after we die. That is upapatti bhava. Then also we have nipatti. Nipatti means, it's like I'm unable to translate it directly. It's like nipatti here is to translate it, a result, accomplishment, achievement, something like that. Accomplishment or achievement. So the English, the translation gives in the dictionary. So Nipatti, the commentary asks, Nipatti, Ariyo Putujjanava, Panithatiyatu. So what was his accomplishment? Was he a noble being? Was he a Putujana? So when we have Gati have two meanings, I'll come to that after. We'll just finish the paragraph and go to the lecture notes. Ko Abhisamparaya. Abhisamparaya means what has happened after this life. There are two possibilities only. So these are the two words. So Abhisamparaya is what has happened to him after this life. Gati has two meanings. What was his destination after life, or what was his accomplishments in this life? Pandito, then Buddha answers, Pandito Bhikkave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo. Monks, the Venerable Bahiyo Daruchiriyo was wise, Pandito. Pandito Bhikkave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo, Pachapadi Dhammasanu Dhamma. Right? Dhammasanu Dhamma. So here, we can also take it as when we see the sentence, the sense I get is Pandito Bhikkave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo is a one sentence. That's normally what we feel when we read. Bahiyo Daruchiriya was a wise person. Pandito Husi. Pachapadi Dhammasanu Dhammam. It's he practiced the Dhamma accordingly. So it seems like a two sentences. But also you can say Pandito Bhikkave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo Pachapadi Dhammasanu Dhamma as a one sentence. The wise Bahiyo Daruchiriya practiced the Dhamma accordingly. So you can take it as a one sentence. But sometimes when I read personally, I feel like Pandita Bhikkave Bahiyo Daruchiriyo, monks, he was a wise person. Pachapadi Dhammasanu Dhamma, he practiced the Dhamma. So here the same subject will be taken to this part. But because there's no marks in the sentence of the Chatta Sangayana, it's better to take monks, the wise Bahiyo Daruchiriya practice. Pachapadi is a word for Pachapadati. Pachapadati. We can say Pachapadati or Pachatu. The translation is given as Patipaji. Patipaji means he practiced, he followed the Dhamma. Dhammasanu Dhamma. Here, the commentary says Dhammasa refers to the Lokuttara supramundane states like Magga and Phala. Anudhamma refers to the practice. The 6 lower Visuddhi. Supramundane, Magga, Phala, and Nibbana. This is one explanation on this. And also, another way of explaining, so there can be alternative explanations. The other way of explaining is Dhamma is, actually it should be Dhamma. Dhamma is Nibbana. Then Anudhamma is Magga Phala. Lokuttara Magga Phala. Dhammasa Anudhamma. Anudhamma means that is something which is accordingly. Like if the practice of the 6 lower Visuddhis matches means if you follow these Visuddhis, you will surely able to get into these supramundane states. So the practice, Dhamma is the achievement. The practice which takes you to that achievement is called Anudhamma, because it doesn't contradict. Like for example, Anuloma, the wisdom which all agrees to the previous practice, also to the achievement. So similarly, Anudhamma means that is it matches. It doesn't contradict with the final achievement. If the practice doesn't contradict with the final achievement, we can call it with the Anudhamma. So conformity with the law, it confirms. Like it means it doesn't. If you follow this practice, surely you will be able to get these final achievements. So in the same way, with the Lokuttara Magga and Phala, you will surely be able to get Nibbana. There are two alternative explanations on this. What is Dhamma and Anudhamma? Pachapadi means he practiced the Dhammassa Anudhamma. What he practiced was Anudhamma. Anudhamma is the object. Dhammassa Anudhamma, Dhammassa means of the Dhamma. The practice of the Dhamma, Dhamma is the supramundane state or the Nibbana, the practice for that. So he practiced the, he fully practiced for the, like according to the practice which matches, confirms with the attainment. So we can say he practiced accordingly. Nachamang Dhammadikaranang Vihesesi. He did not make me tired. Like it says that brings into difficulties, annoys. He didn't annoy me or he didn't brought me any difficulties. Na vihesesi. Na vihesesi. Nachamang vihesesi. So the same thing, the subject is the Bahyo Daruchiryo. Bahyo Daruchiryo did not make me difficulties. Dhammadhikarana. Due to the preaching of Dhamma. I have given in the lecture notes. I've given in the vocabulary. This Dhammadhikaranam is normally it is translated as Dhamma means Dhamma talk. Adhikarana means the reason. The accusative case used here is accusative of reason. So due to Dhamma talk. If someone, the commentary says, if someone listens to Dhamma from the Buddha, and if he doesn't follow it, he considered this as vihesana. This is like bringing difficulties to the Buddha because his Dhamma talk has gone and it become a waste. Right? So if someone doesn't practice after listening to the Dhamma properly, Buddha normally in those days they consider it as bringing trouble to the teacher. So if someone accurately practices what the teacher has explained, then it is considered as not bringing difficulties to the teacher. That's why in the beginning Buddha was taught it will be I'll be tired by preaching this Dhamma, because even after the Brahma has invited, he kept on preaching Dhamma. Bodily he would have got fatigue, the fatigue. But what does he mean by it will only bring tiredness to me? Mean if his Dhamma talk is not going to benefit, then it's a waste of time. Then the Buddha considered it as it's only him getting tired without any result. So the commentary says, therefore, since the Bahir Daruchirya followed exactly while he was preaching the Dhamma, Buddha was preaching Dhamma, he purified his sila and the same posture in which he was listening to the Dhamma, so he didn't bring any discomfort to the Buddha. And his teaching was fruitful, it was not in vain. Then Parinibhutto Bhikkhave Bahyo Daruchirya. Once the Bahir Daruchirya has entered the ultimate cessation, the Parinibbana. So before we conclude, I would like to talk about few things in this paragraph. Daddam bhikkhave bahyasa daruchirya sarirang tupochasa katu. The past participle has been used as the verb. So when you're using a past participle as a verb, there are some few rules that we have to keep in mind. Sorry. Share screen. There are a few rules that we have to keep in mind when we use a past participle as a verb. So there are three types of past participles. But so one is past participles with transitive roots, with intransitive roots, then roots with motion. Roots with motion. This lesson will keep on, will continue for a few weeks. I'll be just explaining few points today. So if you are making a past participle with the intransitive root, for an example, if we take nisidati, plus sad plus nisidati. So we put the normally na suffix, right? So we get the word nisinna, right? We get the word nisinna. So nisinna is an intransitive verb. It doesn't need an object. To sit, you don't need object. You just need a location. So the past participle made with the intransitive root. Past participle is the suffixes are tha and na suffixes. So whatever the suffix is used, if you are making a transitive, connecting into intransitive root, this one is mostly, very rarely it can be changed. It is hattukaraka. It's the active voice. It's an active voice word. It's hattukaraka. Rarely it can be bhavakaraka, but we don't see much on that. Then we come to a root with motion. Normally, the place where you go should be written in accusative case. Some grammarians, normally when we cross something, what we cross is written as the object. When we enter something, the place where you enter is considered the object, especially in the Rupa Siddhi. So likewise, the place where you go or reach is normally considered as the object. This is exceptional for the root gum. Root gum has two opinions. Some says it's a root with transitive, some says it's intransitive. But normally the place where you reach is normally written in accusative case. That whether it's the place where you go, whether it's the object or not, there are arguments on that. But anyway, we just take it as anything, any root with a motion, normally some roots with motion have objects. For example, you cross something, you enter somewhere, you go to somewhere. So these are normally roots with motion. So we normally take them as transitive roots, some like crossing and so forth. So even though they have an object, but with these transitive roots with motion, when we take them, make them past participles, and when we make them past participles, they become active voice. Why do I say it? Because with transitive roots means the roots which need an object. For example, pach, to cook. You need something to cook. You need a object to be cooked. So pach is a transitive root. So then we put tha, we get pachita. Pachita is mostly passive voice. It's kamakarta. Passive voice. Right? But even though the roots with motions, even though they have an object, but still, according to the past participle rule, roots with motion, when they are made into past participles with ta and na, they mostly become active voice. For example, to cross, ta plus na, we become tinna. Tinna is active voice. Kattu karka. So someone can ask the question, why do we make this separately? Why do we write it separately? Because normally these roots are considered as transitive. These roots are considered as transitive. Normally a transitive root connected with a ta suffix or na suffix brings a passive voice kamma karaka word. But this rule doesn't apply to this. So that's why we have to bring it as an exceptional case. Otherwise, there are two groups of roots only, transitive roots and intransitive, transitive and intransitive. Intransitive roots, when connected with ta suffix and na suffix, become active voice. Transitive roots become passive voice. But among these transitive roots, there is a group called roots with motion. So in these roots with motion, when they are connected past, mostly they become active. This is mostly. There can be exceptional cases. If the voice is changed, the commentary would normally explain it, because this is the normal standards we follow. Intransitive roots turned into past participles are active voice. Roots with motion turn into past participles are active voice. Roots with transitive roots change into past participles are passive voice. So what does I mean by this passive voice? This is called, here we call it sadhana. Sadhana means here activeness and passiveness of a past participle is within the word itself, right? When we come into sadhana, sadhana means actually the syntax we use to form a word, we can call it. Syntax we use in word formation. The syntax we use in sentences is called karaka. Is called karaka. This is the difference. Syntax we used in word formation is called sadhana. Syntax we use in sentences is called karaka. So today I'm going to just discuss about the sadhana. Activeness and passiveness of a past participle is within the word itself. What does it mean? Is an active voice, past participle. So this denotes a person. It's most important. When we say it's active voice, kattu karaka, the word denotes to a person. It can be used as an adjective. It can be used as a noun directly. It doesn't matter. The word itself shows to the agent of the noun, one who is doing the action. So if you take the root thar and thinna, is an active voice past participle. This denotes a person who has crossed. Tarati is crossing. Since it denotes the person, denotes how to say, a person who has. So if you take pachita, is a passive voice, past participle. The passive voice past participle. So what happened? It doesn't denote the person who cooked. It denotes the person who, it denotes the thing. This denotes the thing that has been cooked, not the person who cooked. That is important, right? So we have to keep in mind when the pachita word comes, mostly it denotes to the thing that has been cooked. But when you say thing, this denotes the person who has crossed. not the place one has crossed. Not the place one has. If you say the place one has crossed, it's a passive voice. Passive voice means it gives more emphasis on the object of the action. Now, if you take this for an instance, the cooking is an action. You need a person to cook, you need an instrument to cook, you need the fire to cook, you need something to be cooked. So this action is accomplished with various types of various helps: the doer, the object, the instrument, the location, and so forth. So when we say the vaka, it means it denotes the person who does do the action. If we say the word is passive voice, kamakaraka, it denotes the thing which undergoes the action. Sometimes there can be sadhana of instrumental case, right? Instrumental case. For example, I hope this will not lead for confusion, because when we talk the past participle as a verb, when you want to use a past participle as a verb, we normally have only active voice, passive voice, and abstract voice very rarely. But when we say, I mentioned that activeness and passiveness of the past participles within the word itself. It means the word itself denotes. So when you make a word, take that word as a certain incident. For example, pachita. So there something has, the action of cooking has happened. So if we refer to, if we want to refer to the thing which is being cooked, we have to make a kattu karaka sadhana. If we want to refer to the instrument that we use to for cooking, then we have to use the karana sadhana part. So then sometimes, for example, just activeness, passiveness, or activeness, passiveness, and so forth. So there are a few meanings. Like for instance, asana we take. Asana is made with a plus c plus ana. Normally ana is abstract voice, but here this ana is used in the adharaka. Adhikarana, sorry, adhikarana we call. Adhikarana sadhana. Adhikarana sadhana means it's the locative sense. Locative meaning. So what does this mean? When we make a ana suffix in the adhikarana sadhana, right? I'll explain them later in a different approach. Just I want to indicate that the word itself has the meaning. That's what I want to say today. So this indicates, because C is asana, asa is to sit or to lie down or to remain. As we can call it asati, something like that, asati. Or so the word meaning is that you sit. So when you say asana, this remains, this denotes the place one does the action of sitting or lying down. So why is that? Because when you have the action of sitting, you have a doer, you have a place, sometimes you have an instrumental and so forth. But here we are giving emphasis to the place. So the word itself denotes not the person who does the action, it denotes the place where the action is done. So likewise, these activeness, passiveness, and so forth, these meanings are within the word itself. Within the word itself. So we can tell the word as active voice, passive voice, adhikarana like katukaraka word, katuka sadhana, karana sadhana, we can kamma sadhana word, and also we can call adhikarana sadhana and so forth. So today what I want to emphasize is this sadhana is when you construct a word, there is a specific meaning that we emphasize. That Kaptu Kamma Karana meaning is located in the syntax, in the suffix. It's located in the suffix. So if I go back to the explanation, they come and tell the Buddha that they burn the body of Venerable Bhante Maggavihāri.
So Bhante,
So, sorry.
Bhante?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so they say they burned the body of Bhante Maggavihāri and they made the stupa. Just 1 minute. So the burning, it's the burnt. Is the passive voice meaning is there because burning is a transitive action. You need an object to burn. Karoti is also a transitive verb. You need a object to be done. So these two are passive voice, active or passive voice. Go to the first criteria. Transitive, intransitive, root with motion. So these are transitive verbs for the past participle is passive voice. Yes, Sally.
I mean,
Yes,
in the Adhikarana sadhana, actually it refers, this denotes the place where the action happens.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Correct. Yeah. That's how I wrote, right?
No, you didn't write it in that way.
This denotes the place one does the action of sitting. Yeah. You can say that, but denotes the place the action of sitting happens. What you can say like. Okay. The action of sitting happens.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Right. Yeah. I think the time has passed, so I'll just call it a day, and you can ask some questions. I'll continue with some edges. I also want to emphasize few points in the sutta more, but it will take some time. So today, grammatically, what I want to emphasize is when we use the past participle as a verb, right? So I didn't come to that conclusion yet, to the final explanation. First, we want to know the word itself, the past participle itself has a meaning, syntextual meaning. That syntextual meaning is called sadhana. So it has the word, the syntax is inbuilt in the word. We bring this meaning when the word is formed. So here, when we say when we are using, how to say, this meaning, that root with transitive roots motion, roots with intransitive are what I came for the past participles, right? Here, I'm not talking about the past participles itself. Sorry if you got confused on this. So first we have to go into the formation of words. So then after that, we come to this past participles. How do we use it as a verb? Because past participle is also constructed in the same manner. So here, what I want to emphasize, the syntax we use in the word formation. So the suffixes has the syntextual meaning. They have the syntaxial meaning. So the nisinna, the na suffix in the active voice, katukaraka. So what happened? The nisinna denotes the person who does that. So in tar suffix, the na is in the active voice. So it denotes the person who crossed the ocean. The pach transitive roots, the star suffix is passive voice. So patipa denotes the thing that has been moved. But when we come to apasi plus ana, this ana suffix, it remains the adhikara, location, the locative meaning. So therefore, it denotes the first place where the action of sitting happens. So likewise, first we have to keep in mind the words itself has that syntactical meaning built in there. So then after that, when we take the past participles are also such words, So then when we are using a past participle in a sentence as a verb, right? I'll explain this again next week. When we are using a past participle as a verb in a certain sentence, we have to consider about its activeness and passiveness, because the word itself has this meaning. So first we have to figure out what kind of a word it is, whether it's active or hello, I hope you can hear me. If the word itself is passive voice, we have to use it in a passive voice sentence. The passiveness of a sentence, the passiveness of a word is two things. That's why I mentioned. Syntax we use in sentence is called karaka. Syntax we use in word formation is sadhana. So the word itself also has the activeness and passiveness. The sentence also have the activeness and passiveness. So past participles are also words, thus constructed. So they also have the activeness, passiveness, and so forth. So normally it's activeness and passiveness and abstractness. So when we want to use the past participle as a verb, I'm repeating, as a verb, if the past participle is passive, you can only use it in a passive voice sentence. Past participle is active, you can use it in a rule I want to discuss. And I'll stop the lecture here. You have one or two questions we can ask.
Bhante, I would like to ask about the roots with motion, Bhante.
Yes.
So in what case will the subject and the object return, Bhante? Like,
What do you mean?
Like for example, like in normal sentence, the subject is in nominative and the object is accusative, Bhante. And in the passive, the subject is instrumental and then the object is nominative, Bhante. So how about in the case of the roots with motion, Bhante?
Yeah. I'm not talking about
actually, I'm just curious how the
question.
Then can Bhante give one example sentence with the root with motion, Bhante?
Because I'm not talking about, I'm just talking about a word.
Yes, Bhante. Actually, I just want to know
we are using it.
The construction with the roots with motion. Tina.
Nothing. Thin. This is how, if you use it as a verb, puriso nothing thin.
Oh, okay, Bhante, got it. So the object written in accusative.
What I was telling, object is written in accusative when we use it as a verb. The root with motion is used as a verb. I think I'll explain this with a different approach next week because I feel it led into confusion. I felt it like that because here what I'm talking is the word formation of the word itself. Even when we form a word, it has certain meanings. For example, the root and the suffix has the verbal meaning, the action, right? The prefix, root and the prefix have the verbal meaning. Actually, the meaning is in the root, what the prefix is doing, elaborating some meanings. Then the suffix has the syntax, meaning of time, and Also, yeah, syntax, the time and the number. Sorry, not number, syntax, the time, and few other meanings. So the suffixes have some meaning. So what happens is when we connect these words, so nisinna, here ni sad is to sit. So the syntax of this na is kattu karaka. Time of this na is past tense. So what happens? So this sitting, action of sitting is there. Syntax is the doer and the time is past. So when we combine all together, we refer to a person who has sat, who has done the sitting in the past. So likewise, these suffixes have also certain meanings. So those meanings are one, syntaxial meanings. The syntaxial meanings of these suffixes are called sadhana. So in some suffixes, it refers to the kattu. Some suffixes refer to the kamma. Some suffixes refer to the location. Some suffixes refer to the instrument. So what happens? For instrument, nahaniya, nha, plus the root is naha, plus aniya. Aniya is a suffix. So this nha has the meaning of to take bath. Aniya, the syntaxual meaning is instrument. The time is, it can be past, present, future. So we just give the instrumental meaning. So what happened? Word is nha, nahaniya, or nhaniya, both is possible. So the meaning is the soap, things that are used for bathing, because it's the instrument. The meaning is the instrument. So the word itself, so what I want to emphasize is the word itself has the syntaxual meanings in them. Then how to use them in a sentence is a different story. I'll come to that next time. First, what I want to emphasize is the word in themselves has inbuilt meanings, inbuilt syntaxes.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Okay then. So shall we call it a day? I started. It's a long lesson actually. We'll try to figure this out step by step. I'll make another different approach in explaining them. What is the sadhana, karaka, and the usage of past participle as verbs. So we'll continue with the remaining of the same sutta, and especially we focus on
So I remember when I was studying in this part, at the time I also asked what is the difference between sadhana and the karaka. So what the Bhante told me was sadhana is the usage of the suffix. Karaka is the usage of the sentence. That is the main difference between them. Hello?
Who told it?
Oh, Myanmar Bhante.
Hello.
Oh, Myanmar monks.
You mean I told it once, is it?
No, another Bhante.
Okay. So normally this sadhana and karaka, okay, karaka and sadhana has the same idea. Okay, karaka and sadhana have the same idea. They have the syntaxial meaning. Like syntaxes are, according to the Pāļi tradition, there are few types of the meanings related to a verb. for a verb, for action, actually, sorry, not a verb, action. Action, for action to be accomplished, we need few factors. We need a doer, some actions need an object, all the actions need a location, some actions need an instrument, some actions is also part of this whole thing, right? Also the whole thing. So we don't need the genitive for that. Object needs an instrument needs a dative, needs some actions need the ablative, and all the actions need a location. And also the action creating a word. When we are putting this into a word, when we are putting this into a when we want to create a word, what we do is, when we want to create a word related to an action, that's the important. When you want to create a noun or word related to an action. So what we do is, we have to put which part of the action it emphasizes more. Does it emphasize upon the doer of that, the location? So that emphasis that we give is called the sadhana. So in the word formation, one of the aspects of the action, which I explained, the subject, object, instrument, and so forth, one of the aspects will be given more attention. So that attention, emphasis, is the meaning of the suffix, syntaxial meaning of the suffix. So if you are giving more attention to the kattu, we call it kattu sadhana. If you are giving more attention to the object, we call it kamma sadhana. If you are giving more attention to the instrument, we call it karana sadhana. If you give more attention to the location, we call adhara sadhana or adhikarana sadhana. And if you give more attention to the ablative, apadana sadhana. If you give more attention to the dative, how to say, we call it sampadana sadhana. And if we give attention to the action itself, we call it bhava sadhana. So that is how the sadhana means what is the emphasis, which aspect of the action is emphasized. Then when we call the karaka, in the karaka of a sentence, we have now, in a sentence, what happens? The verb governs the sentence. The verb governs the entire sentence. Verb and sometimes the gerund, in parts of the sentence, infinitive, these words normally. We can focus on the verb, gerund, and infinitive. So in these three, they govern the part sentence, entire sentence, the parts of the sentence. So these verb, gerund, and infinitive, normally they have only three types of sadhana. Is kattu, kamma, or bhava. Kattu, kamma, or bhava. Verb can have kattu, kamma, bhava. Normally, to my knowledge, infinitive and gerund mostly have the kamma, kattu. It refers to the kattu, but it can also have kamma sadhana, kattu and kamma sadhana. So what happens? So these verbs, gerunds and infinitives, they govern the entire sentence. So normally a sentence can have three syntaxes, kattu, kamma, and karana, because verbs, gerunds, and infinitives we don't find in instrumental sadhana, we don't find in dative sadhana, and so forth, sampadana sadhana, and so forth. So therefore, then when we have a sentence, the main governed by the verb, gerund, and the infinitive, then the other words are supportive for this verb. Suppose we divide the sentence as kattu, kamma, or bhava. We don't divide the sentence as karana sadhana, sampadana sadhana. We cannot do it. The reason is the entire sentence is governed by the verb, and verb has only three sadhana. Verb has, not like nouns, verb doesn't have many sadhana. 7 sadhana. It has only 3 sadhana. We call it karak actually, 3 sadhana. Then what happens in a sentence, when we want to express the idea, how the other words are related to the verb, we have various types of case endings, right? Various types of case endings. So these case endings are sometimes called karaka, like puriso gamang gacchati. Puriso ratena gamang gacchati. So ratena is instrument for the gacchati. Gamang is the object of the gacchati. So in the sentence, we express the sadhanas, all the other relationships. We call it karaka. We call it karaka. Sadhana means when you construct a word, what is the emphasis that you are giving?
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Okay, I'll explain them in more detail in further classes. We'll have a discussion on this. So I'll call it a day now. So thank you for listening. And
thank you very much.
If you have any
Bhante.
further questions on this, we can discuss on the following classes. Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Bhante.
much, Bhante.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.